Do, 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 do. Hey.
Hey, everyone.
How you doing? You guys are late.
So it's noon.
You guys should have gotten here
In like Iceland or Greenland.
at 12.
Greenland's the one that's like east of us. Right?
We're on Chicago time.
Yep. Yes, we're in Chicago. No wait,
We
they're
are-
behind an hour. So
Yes, exactly. So they are at 12 right now.
you're right.
So we are in Chicago today. We just happened to forget to change our watches.
Man, that's a better lie than I had. I was gonna say that we've been coming to you live from Greenland this whole time.
No,
So we've always
they're
been on
later.
it this time. Yeah, exactly. I'll be like,
I didn't, the daylight savings stuff.
we're sorry.
Anyway,
we're sorry we're late. We had car problems.
Welcome to our last show of 2018.
2018. Drink Cordigard has been here for, well, not a whole year, but you know.
A couple months.
Yeah,
a few months.
we've been here, and yeah, we've been doing our thing and looking at fights and talking all that shit. And sometimes we were professional about it, sometimes we weren't professional. Doing a lot more of the latter recently. But yeah, last night's the big fight before we get into the new year, before we get into the end of the year discussion, should I say? UFC 232.
Big fight yesterday.
Two big
event.
fights. John Jones versus Gustafsson. John Jones is back for a third time.
Daddy's home, DC.
Daddy's home, DC. There you have it. It was about as simple as that. Jones came back, in the third round?
That was the third round. Yeah,
The third round, got a takedown. It looked like he was trying to take him down the whole time. Like, he really looked like he was trying to get a takedown
Even the fight?
on Gustafsson. Yeah, Jones on Gustafsson the whole time.
He was trying to do. You know, what he was trying to do. He was really trying to keep him from boxing him. So whenever he would get to like a certain distance, he would kind of clinch up with him, and then he likes to like break with like a knee or an elbow. So he'll get like he's like, all right, at least I'll get a nice strike out of this or a nice.
Yeah, that's true. I think he was also. I mean, it was obviously he was.
But he
concentrating.
did go for a takedown or two before that.
He was, but
and
I mean,
Gustafsson, blocked him.
it definitely paid off more after he took those. He took those shin kicks from Jones.
Oh, he landed some nice kicks.
Yeah, that happened like at the end of the first and like in the second
buckled
round. I
his-
think it
fucked
made
his
him.
left
I think
leg.
it made it a lot easier for him to take him down to the third and get him in that ground and pound. I think he was out after like that first shot. Like, he literally hit him
the first is two
because he hit him in the side of the head.
His arm was
right
here,
in the side of the ear.
but then he stopped covering his arm was just
Because he was getting him like right here on the side of the ear, like once you get somebody right there to get rocked and all dazed up and like crazy. He was probably on the ground like trying to stand up, and he was just like, can't do it. Brr. Equilibrium's all fucked up, and then I mean, 4 or 5 shots after that, it was kind of like, all right, he's not defending
What's
at
his
all.
name? Is it Beltran? No.
Bentran, something like that. The guy from
He looks
World
like-
of Warcraft. That guy.
That's actually good. I was gonna say he looked like a character in Popeye or something.
The big ass beard.
Mike Beltran.
That is a diesel
Right?
beard, and he made Alexander
Yes, Mike
Gustafsson's
Beltran.
Swedish beard look like a thing a child would have. Yeah, that thing is nuts.
He looks like he has like the scalp of 2 young girls on his face.
That's so graphic. I was gonna say he looks like he's in System of a Down. Maybe I should have said mine first.
Yeah, man. But yeah, because Herb Dean was initially going to ref this fight, but Herb Dean ended up being a judge last night. Which is
Oh
interesting.
yeah, right. Did he judge that fight, or was
I think it was all. I think they just keep the same judges for all the fights.
it?
I don't think they changed the judges for the fights.
You know, out of so many things that I know about MMA, that is one thing that I'm not sure of.
The judging?
If they keep the judges the
I
same
think-
for the
I
whole
think
evening.
no one knows anything about the judging because it's stupid and it doesn't make sense and it doesn't work.
Yes, sir.
But at least you got
Fair
someone like
arguments.
Herb Dean in there. I trust him. I'd rather he be a judge than some of these other.
He
clowns.
does have a jiu-jitsu background, and I think he's 2-0 in MMA, and then decided, hey, this is as good as that's gonna get for me. I'm gonna go
Damn.
ahead and start reffing shit. He was
Yeah,
at
I'd rather
heavyweight,
him
I
than
think.
who's that? Something
Light
Bird.
heavyweight. Huh?
What's her name? Something Bird. Adelaide Bird or something. Is that her name?
What
That one
her?
ref that she's always like fucking shit up. She's the one that didn't she?
Oh, with the nose, the one that
Judge,
Misha Tate hates.
I don't know. She's the one that judged that the first Triple G Canelo, I think, right?
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, they were talking about just. I think she was also there for the Deontay Wilder Fury fight. No, maybe I'm wrong as well.
I'm not sure, but I want to know who these judges are because I forget who they are. Oh yeah, there we go. Fuck you! I don't give a fuck. You have ad blocker, bitch. Fuck you gonna do about it?
He doesn't like ads.
Well, not when they're bothering the fuck out of me.
Well, Triple G.
Bird? Damn it.
Regardless of that, though, Jones put up a great fight last night. Gustafsson looked pretty good, but Jones... It's funny, too, like, they were talking about Jones looking a little tired, Jones looking a little labored, Jones looking a little bit like blah, 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 blah. Controversial. Jones looking a little bit of blah, 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 blah. So, because of that, everybody was a little worried until they took him down, and then it was very obvious that the dominant person was on the ground. Ah, this lady. I have no idea who that is. I feel like I have seen her before. But
she's like a part of so many controversial decisions.
Adelaide Bird is the worst.
Yes.
Well, judging by that YouTube video, the first one that pops up on the Google search. Yeah. Damn, that's terrible.
She did Canelo Triple G.
Why doesn't she get like another job?
She did, this one controversial to return Joe Rogan absolutely savaged her. Which one fight was that?
Look at his face.
Rigged turnaround. Which was that? What
Oh, Brian Caraway and Cody Stammen, because I think Cody Stammen got
there's the.
I think Brian Caraway got like a couple of takedowns, and she gave it to him for that, or something like that. Yeah. I forget what it was. No. He had gotten the takedowns. Like he had grinded out like a decision win in the last 2 rounds, and
that's the face of a man that's pretty sure he's gonna win. He's like, I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
I'm winning this shit. And he just kind of the other guy, no, because I think he landed a couple of shots. Each round, he essentially landed like maybe a handful of like significant shots, but then Caraway was on top of him for like a majority of all three rounds, all the whole fight, and he was also working on him. So, yeah, but then I guess Adelaide Bird took that away from him.
This is Luke Thomas. Good fight, but since Bird is scoring, I'm going to assume it's a draw or someone won 30-24 for no good reason. Here we go.
Here we go. Luke Thompson.
So she's a trash judge.
Damn.
She's garbage, so maybe she shouldn't be judged anymore. Maybe get someone more like Herb Dean or some or former...
Herb Dean is doing the same.
Some more former refs or somebody, former fighters.
A ghost.
Oh!
But, yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, luckily last night I didn't have to go to the judges for, like, majority of the good fights, so that's not a bad thing. And, luckily she wasn't there last night. Good old Herb Dean was there. But, like I said, it wasn't really necessary.
Saved us, Herb Dean. Or who was that guy, from Jersey? He's a former fighter. He's a judge. He judges in Jersey.
I don't know a lot about judges, so these are all questions that I'm just going to shrug at.
Jersey. I forget his name now. Judges in a
That's also another weird thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's also another weird thing. How the how judges for boxing they just throw them into like the judges for MMA. I don't think they should both be the same at all. They should both be entirely different. It's just like they're both entirely different sports.
So she does boxing and MMA. I hear you, Ricardo Almeida.
I mean, if you know about both of them, sure, do your thing. But if you don't,
he became a judge.
Ricardo Almeida.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Ricardo Almeida. Nice. He's good. I like him. He was in...
retired fire.
Yeah.
Pancrase.
He got power bombed.
UFC.
He lived to tell the tale.
But, more like that.
But, big night for John Jones. He came back for a third time in 4 years and won his belt back. The belt that he did not win.
Yeah.
The belt that DC never really won. And the belt that John Jones said he would defend against DC if DC came down to light heavyweight.
Yeah,
which I don't think is going to happen. I mean, maybe it could, but DC doesn't really need to. Does he really need to prove anything? Because I mean, DC's the heavyweight champion, and I feel like the heavyweight champion doesn't. Right. It supersedes the light heavyweight champion now.
So, actually, and that's funny because DC was going to get stripped for
Well, he wasn't going to
right
get
before the
stripped.
fight?
They were just going to vacate the belt. Like they weren't going to strip him.
No, but they were going to strip him because
it was two. It's
They're
two different.
basically- You're stripping him. If he
Dana
has the belt,
White
you take it away
made
from him.
Dana White when they interviewed Dana White, he made it essentially like in the record books, it's going to be two different things: vacating and being stripped of the belt. Being stripped of the belt is essentially like
he
wouldn't defend your
vacated
belt,
it
or like they
before
take
they
the
could
belt.
strip-
Like
they
Jermaine
strip-
Duramney, she was stripped of her featherweight title because she didn't want to defend it, but Conor McGregor vacated his
No, he was
featherweight title.
stripped.
No, he vacated his
He was
title.
stripped.
The record books will say that that's what I'm telling you. Dana White says that the record books will say that he vacated the belt. He would have vacated the belt had he kept it that night.
I'm saying that-
They wouldn't have technically stripped him.
No, they stripped him before the whole fight with like what's a good example?
They were gonna have him vacate the belt.
Who fought
Get
for
stripped.
featherweight? It was
It's
Max
two
Holloway
different
and Aldo.
things. Yeah, it was Max Holloway and Aldo, and that was for the undisputed
They
belt.
stripped him right before the fight
They
happened.
didn't strip him.
They stripped him at the moment of the fight.
He vacated the title. That's what I'm telling. I'm telling you that
All right,
I agree.
I don't know what he's.
Yes, I agree that's what I agree
so my
also
understanding is
happened.
He got stripped, but
That's what.
I know
Yes, exactly. That's what we think.
that's-
But the record books are going to say that he vacated the belt just because stripped is like bad on like your record, and that's what he said was going to happen in DC. He
No,
was
I
like,
know
we
that
weren't going to
DC
put that. He purposely
purposefully
vacated the belt because of
vacated
that.
it.
But
He
I think
said that,
Dana
I'm
White was
going to
telling him
vacate it
that
before I
he
get stripped.
didn't need to do that because we were going to have it down that he vacated the belt anyway. So,
I don't care what it says on the record, but they got stripped.
That's what I'm saying.
Or he
That's
was going to get
that's
stripped.
the only thing I'm telling you is that the
But-
very logical and
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. What
absolute
gets written
sense
into
of
into
vacating
Wikipedia. I don't
and
give a fuck.
stripping
I'm
the
saying,
belt.
They stripped.
All right.
Motherfucker. And
For
they're gonna strip
argument's
DC.
sake, I'm gonna keep
DC's
saying
like,
he vacated
no,
the
fuck
belt,
you,
but,
bald
yeah.
father. I'm gonna vacate this shit, and you can take it and you can shove it up your ass. I don't know if he said all that, but
I can't remember the last time somebody called him the bald father. People still call him that?
the bald father, yeah,
Really? Oh.
it's a term of endearment. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
But yeah, I mean after
I
that
think
win,
I think DC's better at heavyweight.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely. And I think
and
maybe
John
John
Jones
Jones
says-
knows that.
I think he's scared.
Maybe I don't think he's scared. I think
he's
he
scared.
knows that. I think he knows that DC is a lot better at heavyweight. I think he knows that DC has that punching power. And I mean,
I think you saw
John
what happened
Jones'
to
chin is
Stipe.
good. John Jones' chin is great at 205. But when you talk about somebody with 40 extra pounds on them punching you in the face, that's usually your height. Most heavyweights are like around his height. Entirely different story. Those chicken legs won't hold up that long.
I don't think a 230-pound John Jones wants to fight a 260-pound Daniel Cormier.
Maybe not. I mean, for all we know, like we said, the only way that John Jones will get that big and like he'll be
a different
comfortable.
fighter. Though, too.
Absolutely, you're always a different fighter when you go to a different weight. Well, especially at a weight class with such a big, weight
Crazy thing about
differential.
DC is DC fights the same way. No matter if he's 260, 205.
Well, yeah, he fights the same way, but I mean, there's like different outcomes. There's a different, there's like a different outcome to the things he does. Like with his striking, like he outboxes like Alexander Gustafsson and Volcom. Like there's not really the power there, but like at heavyweight, you can knock a motherfucker out. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty crazy when he does that shit. It's funny too because like I'm sure he can do it at light heavyweight. He did it to Dan Henderson and stuff like that. But like at heavyweight, I feel like I've seen him suplex a lot more dudes that weigh 260 pounds, and I've seen him flip dudes at 205 pounds. So that's another very interesting thing. Just like his strength in general, like almost doubles. And it's crazy because it's just like, literally, it's just like a 30 or 40 pound differential. He's exactly a different fighter. He's entirely that. And like I said, John Jones knows that. I don't think he's afraid. But I think the fact that I feel like he can get it into DC's head to go down to 205. He shouldn't. I don't think DC should. I think they should have the fight I think they should have the third fight
it should
at
be
205.
heavyweight.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's not really a negative for John Jones because if he loses to DC, it's like, all right, he lost to DC, but he lost a third time and he lost to DC
And
at
my
heavyweight.
first fight at
There are
heavyweight.
circumstances. Yeah, his first fight at heavyweight, these are different circumstances. But John Jones
crazy?
wins at heavyweight, he becomes a 2-division champ. The 2-division champ, the actual 2-division champ, because he had beaten DC and never lost a light heavyweight title, and now beat DC twice in both weight classes. So, I mean,
It'd be kinda
that's
crazy.
the best way for him to get some GOAT status behind his back.
If he goes up, fights DC at heavyweight, DC beats him. They're like, he's like, shit, I gotta get a rematch. Fight again. DC beats him again. Now they're 2-2, but in 2 different divisions.
I mean, that could happen.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be nuts. I feel like at a certain... would he fight him again at heavyweight if he loses? Like, would John Jones fight
I don't know. Maybe.
DC a fourth time? Maybe.
It depends on his
Maybe,
his ego. Maybe he's just like, I can't.
Yeah, this is true.
Or for his legacy too.
I could see that happening.
Especially
if like, I mean, it also maybe depends on how DC beats him. If DC like pulls a Miocic on him, then it's kind of like, whoa. I mean, you could sell that fight again. Either
if
way.
This is at heavyweight though, I feel bad for Stipe because he's been waiting for so long. And they'll give DC anybody but Stipe.
This is the era of the money fights, the era of the super fights, and the era where people who are known more in the media are gonna get the bigger fights. I mean, they're already talking about giving Nick Diaz the co-main at like 235 or something like that with Jorge Masvidal. They're already like making a big deal about it. And Nick Diaz like 3 days later was like, I haven't signed anything yet. I still have the contract right here. I don't feel like it anymore because you guys are telling people that I already did. That's essentially what happened.
We're living in a weird time.
Absolutely. But I mean, yeah, we still get to see the fights we want to see.
The WME era is upon us.
Quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, moving on from that, hats off to John Jones in a very dominant performance. Once again, the light heavyweight champion. We'll see what the future holds for him against DC or him against Anthony Smith. Or him against anybody, really. We'll see what happens there. But honestly, for me, the big news of the night, I think it definitely overshadowed John Jones. Amanda Nunes
that was a shocker.
Becoming a double champ in the women's division.
That was a shocker.
I'm
not proud of myself.
The first double champ in the women's division, the first woman to beat Cyborg in the UFC, the first woman to beat Ronda Rousey and Cyborg. She is the best of all time. I mean, you can't really argue with that point. She beat the two best well-known names. She beat them both in under a minute. Oh no, our studio's falling apart again.
And although Miesha Tate's, she's not Ronda Rousey, she is still like in the. I'd put her, if there's an MMA Mount Rushmore, I'd put her on there.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Or a women's MMA Mount Rushmore, I'd put Miesha Tate up there.
Absolutely, definitely. I think right now, the only person we haven't seen her beat that's like up there and that's a well-known name is Holly Holm, and that could be the next fight they make. I mean, even at featherweight, doesn't seem to be a reason why they wouldn't.
Maybe a rematch.
I don't think a bantamweight, though. I think maybe a featherweight. They already did
it would be yeah. Are you saying Holly Holm at bantamweight?
No, Holly Holm at featherweight, I think. You think a rematch? Maybe. I could see that. The only reason I'm saying no is I think Cyborg might try to box. She might be like, I'm going to box for like a year or two. Maybe she'll try to come back and get a rematch.
The only reason I don't see that happening is because I feel like the star power, the prestige of being a UFC champion, it like opens doors for you and like that. And although people know her, I feel like people are going to be less excited to see her fighting boxing if she's not the champion.
I feel like it's already in the plans, though. She already had it set in what she was going to do with her career. For her, I'm sure she would love a money fight. Yeah, definitely want to do all that stuff. But I feel like she wants to also do it for like her own legacy and her own her own career. Because she mentioned before, she's like, I wanted to do Muay Thai, I want to do MMA, and I always wanted to do boxing. Like even in Muay Thai, she got championships, but she wasn't really well known. Muay Thai, MMA right now, she's getting well known, obviously, because she was undefeated for so long. I think she still might try boxing because I feel like it's more so going to be just for her own sake, her own legacy, and maybe she'll do that for like 2 years, and then come back and maybe expect an immediate rematch.
Well, she tried. She was doing a lot better in the UFC as far as her style. She wasn't as ballering as much. She got more technical.
She got a lot better, especially with Holly Holmes.
She was just like, and maybe it's because of all these plans she has and all these other things on her mind.
It could be.
That she came in and she was just like, yo, I'm gonna get this over with. I'm gonna go in there and I'm knock her out.
Yeah,
so she came in.
Right.
She hit Amanda with a few punches and she was just fucking swinging.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was also another thing. Like, I think she and a lot of other people weren't expecting Amanda Nunes to be that strong. She's strong at 135. She was pretty big at 145. She's fucking big. She was like close. She was like the same size as Cyborg. I was saying the way she was like kind of winding her punches, she was like really throwing her shoulders into them and throwing them real like fast too. She was kind of throwing them like I said how Conor McGregor throws them. So she has this crazy reach that like goes a lot further than it looks like.
She has knockout power at 135.
Absolutely, so yeah. Well, I mean. Well, not yet. That's true. She does have the knockout part. I was gonna say she didn't knock out Ronda Rousey, but I mean Ronda Rousey.
She did knock her out.
Not well on her feet.
She KO'd her.
I guess I TKO'd her. Yeah, but like on her feet kind of thing.
She KO'd. Cyborg.
She KO'd Cyborg. That was nuts. I mean, like 145, she had that power there. She looked bigger. She looked a lot bigger. She said she wanted to get that muscle on there, so she definitely got that going. But man, like Cyborg, as soon as Cyborg got hit with that, like Nunes hit her with like a low kick and then like an overhand left that got Cyborg to the side of the head. That pissed off Cyborg. Cyborg went in and started just fucking trying to Wanderlei her way through.
Yeah.
Just like the
it's so funny.
Chris Cyborg of old, funny enough. Not even
like
the Chris Cyborg recently.
Her torso. It's
yeah. But I mean, that's how she used to beat everybody. That's how she used to beat all these.
It's like a flurry. Women. It's kind of like Vitor.
When you get into, when you get into a situation like that, especially when like a woman who's been so dominant like her, I doubt that she's ever been at the end of like a punch like that so often. She felt Amanda Nunes's strength in that punch, her power, and she was like, I gotta start wailing on this motherfucker. And unfortunately for her, Nunes stayed with the technique and was able to land those punches, really accurate punches too. Holy fuck! Like I knew she was accurate with Ronda, but I mean, Ronda was kind of standing still. Yeah. And, like, it was almost like she was just kind of, like, pitter-pattering her right there. But, like, Cyborg was at least, like, swinging and moving around a little bit. And Nunes was just landing those strikes at will.
Yeah, Nunes was swinging, too. Mm-hmm. But she was ducking punches. She was moving. So, she was swinging with her, but she was doing it with a lot more... like she was there in the moment, like using technique. And
she landed strikes on Nunes as well. Cyborg like hit
earlier,
Nunes with a couple of strikes. You saw Nunes get like a little wobbled, but not as much as like Cyborg did when she got hit with the combinations. Yeah, because once again, like Cyborg, I'm pretty sure when she landed, she probably landed on some like random part on her face or like somewhere, just anywhere, because she was just going in berserker mode. But Nunes was going for that chin, and Nunes got that chin every single time. Fucking nuts.
A little bit of Brian Stan and Vanderlei. It was just like, all right, we're just bang. I think just went for it.
But then freaking just like Amanda Nunes, though, her technique.
Her technique was a lot better than like Vanderlei's, but
it was crazy though that she was able to keep that technique and keep composed. When you have somebody like Chris Cyborg coming at you, fucking wailing
she wasn't
punches.
Scared of her.
No, she was not.
And I thought she was. I thought she was going to be. She seemed to be like maybe a little bit in the press conferences or whatever, but maybe it was more like being in the spotlight.
Being in the spotlight, yeah. I don't. She's not really. She talks.
Talking shit. She doesn't really talk that much shit.
Yeah, she doesn't really talk that much shit. She definitely talks like to her fans and like definitely says what she has to say. But like, I don't think she's ever like that kind of aggressive individual like that. One and two, honestly, regardless of what anyone says and regardless of what anyone says about her legacy and her like this and that, she still beat Ronda Rousey. And she still made Ronda Rousey.
Beat Ronda Rousey.
She still made Ronda Rousey look
MMA champion.
Horrible.
Our women's champion.
Yeah.
The first openly gay champion.
There's a lot of big things that she's a big milestone in herself. She's a huge milestone in the sport of MMA. I think she knows that, and she carries that confidence with her, and that's great. And she carries it in a way where, like we said, like she's not really outlandish in interviews. She's not really like somebody who calls other people out and talks trash.
She's kind of shy. She's kind of reserved.
But all that confidence comes out in her fighting, and that just spells for fucking great fights.
Yeah. Sometimes she's a little cringy. She's a little annoying when she talks, but she says certain things sometimes. And I'm just like, okay, sure.
I feel like something is lost in translation. A lot of times I feel like whenever that happens, it's like something is always lost in translation. So
she was a little douchey after she beat Ronda too. I remember there was like some things she was saying.
Well, that's because wouldn't you be? I feel like I would be, especially if like they marketed the fight. They marketed the fight like the return of Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's coming to take her belt back, and it's like Amanda Nunes is like, no, I'm here, and I'm better than her.
Yeah, she didn't get the respect she deserved.
No, and like I said, like I just feel like the UFC just really dropped the ball on marketing her. She, like you said, first Brazilian woman UFC champion, first openly gay champion. All these things, a woman that like beat Ronda Rousey, beat Miesha Tate, and just for whatever reason, they just always choose the other person. Even like with Cyborg, right now, I feel like maybe like the whole John Jones thing, obviously, like, excuse me, the whole John Jones controversy going into this put a shadow over most of the event. But I mean, regardless of that, do your fucking job. Talk great about your champion. Make your champion look good, because it's easy. Amanda Nunes makes it so easy. She's really marketable. Whoever says that she's not marketable is a fucking fool, and is just looking for. I mean, whatever their definition of a hot woman is to be champion, and that's all they want. They want like another Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, who have like more sex appeal or something like that. But I mean,
also
it's
sometimes it's tough to promote some of the Brazilian champions because they usually some of them don't speak like Ronaldo. He doesn't never speaks English.
But I mean, all the more reason for them to speak to all the more reason I feel like for them to speak to a different demographic. They should speak to the gay, lesbian, like LGBTQ community. They should speak to them. They should speak to the Brazilian community. I'm sure there's a lot of chicks like her, like tomboys who love like fighting and stuff like that.
Well, I mean,
appeal to them.
Why the hell not? They loved her last night. Yeah, the forum in Inglewood was going crazy.
Look at Joanna. The way they market Joanna and Jacek, they get her like they have her a Reebok deal. She like sports Reebok all the time and does all this like athletic wear and like all this shit. She's in like Muscle Mag and all that stuff. They could do the same thing with Nunes. Why not?
Yeah, they did promote Joanna a little bit.
And now she's the greatest fighter of all. Yeah, and now she's like the greatest fighter of all, like the greatest woman fighter of all time right now. I
think this is a page turner for her.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a whole nother.
There's a whole new chapter right now for her. And honestly, right now she can do whatever she wants. The champ fights whoever she wants to fight. If she wants to go back down to bantamweight, she can. If she wants to defend featherweight, she can right now. And honestly, right now, I mean,
there's not enough really contenders in either one.
I was gonna say
so
that.
It actually doesn't. I don't mind that her being double champ because I feel like she could defend both easily.
I was definitely gonna say the same thing. I was gonna be like, she can stick down to bantamweight, defend that one, and then whenever she just goes to featherweight, goes up, which is probably not gonna be that often because, like we said, it's not really that deep a pool. And right now,
the division right now is pretty.
Yeah, both divisions right now. Yeah, you could say that. But I mean, regardless, right now this is not the worst thing in the world because, like we said, because there's one, she's a champion of one division that's really thin, and another one that doesn't have a shitload of contenders, but still like a couple of fun fights that she could have. Yeah, I mean, for all we know, if they
tough injection from the tough.
Yeah, and if they try to make it happen, maybe they can try to have like if Valentina wants to, she could try to have a rematch against Amanda Nunes at bantamweight for the bantamweight title.
She already beat her twice.
That's still a champ versus champ fight that she could probably push for. Maybe if she defends her belt again, wins decisively, she could be like, hey, you know what? I think I beat Amanda Nunes. I want to fight. That's a money fight. Champ against champ. Valentina versus Amanda Nunes 3. I mean, no one ever... You could say that Valentina could have won the first one, the split decision. You could say that, all these different things. So that's another good fight to have. And like we said, because... Unfortunately, right now, the women's divisions aren't so deep. This is the perfect time for them to have super fights for the women's division. And maybe...
Well, yeah, I think this fight was... I didn't hate this fight. Like, this is a good time for this fight.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a great time for this fight, I think. I don't think that fight would not have gone with Amanda's confidence after dominating the bantamweight division and Cyborg and her, unbeaten streak, just both of them going into it. It was literally like they were both coming in at the right time. Cyborg was in her prime, and she was like, I'm the greatest women's fighter of all time. And Amanda Nunes was literally like, I can beat the greatest woman fighter of all time. They clashed, I think, right at that time. We wouldn't have gotten that fight if this was like a year from now, or if we would have gotten this like a year before. I don't think we would have gotten the same fight.
I liked it. Was very
slobber
wholesome.
Knocker, and I liked it.
I like the end. I mean, it was very wholesome.
Absolutely.
She was crying on the mat, and then they gave her the belts, and she was running around like a little kid.
And like I said, because of that, you can also tell that Cyborg has had her moment in the sun, and she feels like
she came over while she was laying down.
Yeah,
and she
gave her a hug. She said congratulations, all that good stuff. I feel like she knows that she had her moment in the sun. She's been undefeated and the greatest women's champion.
Although she's not that much older, she's only 33.
I could say not even just passing it on for now because she wants to do the boxing thing. For
most of her career. Yeah.
What's that?
Cyborg's been in the spotlight for most of her career. She's always been the most feared female fighter.
Always been a champ since the late 2000s. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, hats off to Amanda Nunes. Also, she is the champ. She's gonna get married in a little bit. She's her and Nina.
Yeah.
And
Nina's Ensarov. Yeah.
Ensarov. Yes.
Nina's actually coming up. Had a big fight over Claudia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that should be a bit. She wins that, depending on how she wins that.
She beat her.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was her last fight.
I'm saying depending on.
I don't know
what
she's gonna do after that, but
maybe
she's been on a roll.
She has been on a roll. They've been having a good year. 2018 has been a very good year.
The Nunes household is having really good luck this year.
Yeah, man. They're gonna be having all kinds of lesbian sex nights.
Yeah, Sesame Timbers. Anyway. He had Michael Chiesa was welcomed to the welterweight division by Carlos Condit.
Yeah.
And in a second round, was able to defeat him via Kimura.
Great to see Michael Chiesa.
They were saying like Chiesa-mura or something, maybe?
Yeah, the Chiesa-mura, because it was like a one arm.
It was interesting, yeah.
It was like a one arm. He had extended his arm and then was able to
he extended it all the way back. It was like, his arm was like behind his head.
He was able to get some like leverage with his other hand, almost a la Luke Rockhold, guillotine on Bisping. The whole like thing where he did like the thing. He got like some leverage on him, pulled the arm all the way up, kind of like a Superman pose.
He literally couldn't pull his arm back.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad.
No way. That's why he was able to do it with one hand. He's no way.
And he pulled him back real long. It was like, goddamn, I was surprised Carlos Condit was so damn fucking flexible. Almost fucking ripped his shoulder out of his socket.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I thought it was very competitive earlier, like in the first round.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You can tell.
Carlos
but it was
good.
crazy
Pretty
too
good
because you can tell Chiesa's
BJJ.
power. Chiesa definitely has some power.
He looked bigger than he usually does.
I mean, at lightweight,
he was very skinny on 155.
At lightweight, he all his whole rib cage was like sunken in. You could tell that he was cutting so much weight, and it just like sucked to see him. I mean, when he was on the ground, he was great. He was on the ground and he was getting people in submissions, and it was awesome. But you could tell, like on the feet, if he didn't keep the striking at a distance, he would eventually get taken down. Right now, welterweight,
this whole fight was almost on the feet.
Welterweight, he kept Carlos Condit standing. They stayed in the clinch. They were trading back and forth. Chiesa got him on the ground, did his thing.
Whatever happened to Condit's takedown defense, man?
Something about the lightweights going up to the welterweight division, man. Maybe if Kevin Lee tried to do that also, something might work out for him. And that'd be crazy to see them both fight at welterweight now.
Okay. It's funny because Kevin Lee tweeted, that boy really loved his mama.
Funny. Yeah, I mean, great debut at welterweight for Chiesa. Got the submission in the second round. I mean, what happens to Carlos Condit now?
I don't know. He needs to retire, man. He hasn't looked like the same.
I never want to say. Yeah, I don't.
He had a good fight with Robbie Lawler, but he lost that.
Yeah, I feel like that could have been his like last like big hurrah kind of thing.
But
I mean,
that
he
last good,
round, like that fifth round with him and Robbie, that was like the last maybe like 5 minutes.
That was like his last
of
war.
The natural born killer.
Yeah.
And then after that, it kind of unfortunately. I mean,
his fights recently have just not been.
Maybe he got
the same guy.
He got his title shots. He didn't really get there. He had the interim title. He's made his money.
He's a legend.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the welterweight
Condit.
division, everyone loves. Yeah, definitely do. I used to not like him when he first came in. I was indifferent about him. I liked Rory McDonald when they first went against each other, so I was very indifferent about just like him, and like that was also back when I would call myself like a fan. And then
Don Hyun Kim when
he went against Nick Diaz.
That when he was like he was teeing off on him on the fence. That was crazy.
I was like, holy shit! He started fucking motherfuckers up those nuts. And then this fight with Nick Diaz actually, which a lot of people probably didn't like, but I just
that was super boring.
I still like the way that he kept it. He kept the game, his own game plan going, because usually when you fight against Nick Diaz, unless you're like wrestling him down like GSP did, he'll catch up to you. And he'll catch up to you, and he'll outbox you, and then he'll outwork you on the feet. Carlos Condit kept it on the feet. He outworked Diaz. And I don't know, that fight made me like respect him a lot more. And then when he knocked down GSP in their fight, their unification bout, that was just, holy shit, he might actually do it. And I was like, holy shit.
If he had better wrestling,
that would have been
so much
nuts.
More luck in life fights.
I think so. But I mean,
because with GSP, he's from the ground, he's dangerous. He was, he's threatening GSP with some attacks. He was elbowing him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to get up. On the feet is where he was. He was the most.
I mean, because of his reach, I'm sure he was always able to do the whole ground and pound game and like stay up and kind of sprawl and proc on him.
Well, Chiesa, that was like a BJJ fight, a match. It was like pretty interesting the way that they were, going back and forth. One time they had their legs kind of tangled.
Chiesa's transitions are like really
around.
crazy. I realized, Chiesa's transitions are really awesome. He goes from like a fucking heel hook to a rear naked to a fucking guillotine.
Oh,
like
Carlos Condit almost got him in the heel hook.
Yeah, I seen that. That was fucking nuts. And
I thought he was gonna actually get him.
That would have been nuts. Yeah, that would have been a bad win for Carlos Condit. And obviously Chiesa, his debut, he would have. But I mean,
hey man, even if he ends it right now, 30-13, that's nothing to.
That is not. Yeah, that's not.
Former interim champ.
Former interim champ, 30-13. Especially his fighting style, he goes in there and he like fucking throws down
everybody.
He's always
been a fan favorite. Yeah.
Never a boring fight with Carlos Condit, except for maybe the one with Nick Diaz that everybody hated. But yeah, I mean,
that's how you lose to the Diaz brothers, right? You stand still. That's what they want. They want you to stand still,
absolutely.
So they can tee off on you, get you against the fence, and you got nowhere to go, and they're just gonna keep on moving.
Man.
So you just move. You gotta move. And then we had a light heavyweight bout against Leo Latifi, number 5, versus Corey Anderson.
It was not the night for the Swedes.
That was kind of
Not a good night for
it wasn't
Sweden.
like impressive for either one of them really.
I mean,
but
Corey
it
Anderson
was-
did his thing like he does. He went to decision with
He
the
got his win.
strikes, and he kept his footwork going. Corey Anderson did what Corey Anderson does, and he did it to somebody who was, I think, Leo Latifi was like on a 3-fight winning streak. And yeah, they wanted to make some noise last night. Sweden.
I think
but
Corey Anderson's now on
unfortunately, it's not a
3-fight
great
winning
night.
streak.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he stayed light on his feet.
Didn't get caught.
No, he
That's
caught
good.
a couple of punches, but he gave out a lot more than he like doubled Ilir's output in that fight.
I'm sure. Yeah, he got like tired kind of early. I'm sure. With
Now
all
Leo
that
looked really
muscle.
tired. Yeah,
I mean, with all that muscle,
he's a thick guy. Yeah,
big fucker, no neck having guy.
so he got tired around in the second round sometime.
Yeah,
So.
really don't know where Corey Anderson goes from here though. I'm sure he's gatekeeper.
Well, he's gonna
I'm
be
sure he'll fight somebody.
probably jump up in the rankings towards the middle somewhere.
They'll probably
like
make him
6,
fight
5 or
Dominic
6.
Reyes, or they'll make him fight Johnny Walker. I think next.
Johnny Walker's not ranked. I don't think. they
No, but I mean,
give him
like,
that fight yet.
if they just push him up, fire him up there, I can see right now
That'd be too quick.
I can
That'd be
see
too
the
quick.
UFC doing that right now. I can see the UFC firing up some light heavyweights up.
I would
just to see
maybe
them
give
fight
Johnny
against.
Like a.
I would too. I would absolutely.
No, I'm saying I would give Johnny Walker maybe someone a little higher up, but like
Oh,
like
higher up.
maybe more like like a Thiago Santos or something.
This
He's
is
like
true.
Thiago Santos is new to the division. But
This
he
is
beat
true. That's not a bad
Jimmy
matchup,
Manuwa, so
actually.
that was kind of a big fight for him.
Yeah, I think he's actually
know.
ranked like number 6, number 5 right now. Thiago Santos.
Yeah, they jumped him up with
Yeah,
that win.
I mean, he was already in the rankings at middleweight, so whenever they do that and they go to like another weight class, it's always kind of easy for them.
So yeah, who do you have in there? I mean, yeah, there's tons of people at the end of the over here. I feel like you can give Johnny Walker.
Yeah. Shogun. Oh no, Shogun just have Teixeira. Where's Teixeira at? OSP.
You know what? I feel like they might give him an OSP. OSP
Yeah.
is kind of like on his way out, honestly.
Yeah.
He's not looking that great
Yeah,
lately. And
we could definitely see that happening. But yeah, I mean, shouts to Corey Anderson on his win last night. And actually, another big win and a performance of the night winner was when Chad Mendez got TKO'd by remind me of this gentleman's name.
Didn't see that coming.
Alexander Volkanovski. A lot of Volka and Volkan.
Volk, yeah.
A lot of Volk.
A lot of Volk.
A lot of Volks in the UFC.
He-
But yeah,
yeah,
Alexander
he's-
Volkanovski, a new one. And,
Australian guy. Well,
yeah.
he's obviously not originally from Australia, but
New Zealand? You sure?
I think Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't taken out my phone at all yet. Just gonna find him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, last night, right now,
Yeah,
made him a
Australia.
19-1. Gets a second round TKO on Chad Mendez. What was really interesting for me
New South Wales.
was that he took Chad Mendez's best punches, took his
Yeah,
shots,
he's got a good chin.
weathered the storm, got that chin. Wanted to bait Chad Mendez in to like go toe to toe with him, but then even when he didn't, Alexander went in and took his shots, and Chad Mendez did not
You
like
saw
those.
Chad Mendez getting. He looked kind of frustrated. At one point, he was trying to just swing.
Yeah. I mean, he was swinging at him, and he was getting tired. I think I made that comment last night, and judging by Chad Mendez's back sweat, he had a lot of perspiration back there. You could tell how tired he was and how many
One thing
strikes he
that
had thrown.
confused me greatly was he had Volkanovski's back.
I
He
actually,
sunk both hooks in, and he was fighting for his neck.
I got
And
very.
then suddenly he just kind of gave up. I mean, I know like Volkanovski was a little high on Volkanovski, but he still had the hooks in, at least. So and he had his arm. So I don't know if he was thinking about maybe going for an armbar, or if he felt like Volkanovski like slipping out, and maybe he was gonna turn and get full guard on him or something.
Last night we were watching
Boy, it
the
didn't
fights,
make sense. They
and I
just
got a
gave up.
little excited when one of our friends mentioned that he thought the fight was rigged because I think
yeah.
Chad Mendez was going to get in like a rear naked choke. But what had happened was I had thought Volkanovski was turning his hips into it so he would be able to change positions and then he'd have like top position. I thought that's what was happening. Went back and saw it again. Volkanovski took off like his wrist control. Essentially, he ripped out the Chad Mendez's rear naked choke attempt, and I think from there Chad Mendez kind of noticed like, holy shit, this guy's really strong, and it looked like Chad Mendez was trying to spin around and get on top of like Volkanovski. So since he had like the two hooks in the back,
the hooks.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But it looked like literally you could see Chad Mendez like try to get the rear naked choke, And then Volkanovski literally just pulled off his hand, dumb easy, like nothing. So it's almost like Chad Mendes afterwards wanted to get like top position.
Oh, like roll him?
He was trying to he was trying to spin into like full mount, I think. Yeah, or even try to roll him, something like that. But as soon as he tried, Volkanovski started getting back up and literally broke out of the because he didn't really have the hooks all the way in, and he didn't really have them tied up. So
he had them in. He had them in.
He was able to get out of it though because they were like kind of on the side. You got to watch the clip again, but. Yeah, it was very, like, it was almost like Alexander had muscled his way out and Mendes noticed it. Tried to change positions real quick, and then Volkanovski got up because he saw or felt the opening to get up. And literally just happened, like, right there almost seamlessly. I was trying to explain that last night to a friend of ours. And I was, like, yelling and getting pretty adamant about it. I think I even, like, lost my breath at some point.
Oh, yeah, you did, yes.
But, yeah, no, like, I remember seeing that, so I went to watch it over and over again, and it literally looked like Volkanovski had broken the wrist control Chad Mendes had on him, and Chad Mendes was like, holy shit, this fucker's strong, what do I do now? But Volkanovski got a performance of the night last night for that win, TKO Chad Mendes, and I'm excited to see what happens with him. It's always exciting to see a wrestler like that, who's got a chin, and who can land power shots like that. And especially, like, when you got a champion in his division like Max Holloway, who goes shot for shot with somebody. Powerhouse like that is always fun to see somebody with technical striking like really go at it, at each other.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I thought Chad was this was his comeback. Comeback.
Yeah, I mean he was
looked really good.
He looked
great
good in the last fight. Absolutely, he didn't look like he had anything.
He
got, like I said, he got tired from swinging those shots real early. He's still a big guy, Chad Mendes. He's still got the muscle on him, and he's swinging those shots so fucking widely. That's just how he punches. Got gassed out. And Volkanovski, like, I mean, when you're a wrestler, if you have any pedigree of wrestling, your cardio usually does, like, help you out there, I guess, for whatever reason.
Yeah, different kinds of cardios.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm sure, like, Chad Mendes is used to, like, grinding someone on the ground and, like, holding them down, but he's probably not used to.
He's throwing his big-ass arms.
And swinging, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For all we know, that could be Volkanovski's weakness, because, I mean, that usually is for, wrestlers that throw haymakers. So maybe that'll be the ticket for him. But, impressive performance from him last night.
He said about Max Holloway was
look out for him in the featherweight division.
Max Holloway hasn't really fought a small, bulky wrestler.
That's true.
I guess he hasn't fought that many wrestlers in general.
He fought most of the wrestlers he fights. He always boxes is Ricardo Lamas. He boxed.
But like someone who's
striking. Ricardo Lamas had tried to take him down though. We forget that because Max Holloway cuts a lot of weight. He cuts from 180, 185. He cuts 40 fucking pounds. It's crazy. We forget that when he looks big, he looks like a big fucking dude. So I'm sure that's where all he just has all his takedown defense strength there.
Well, I'm curious how he would fare against even though this fight doesn't make sense right now, but like a Frankie Edgar,
yeah,
or maybe Volkanovski if he's on that level,
Maybe, yeah. Everybody usually throws down with Max Holloway, and his cardio when he's striking is pretty fucking crazy.
Why are you playing?
But I mean, Max Holloway though, that's the thing too. When you take him down, his submissions are nuts. Most of the time, he has gotten submission wins on other dudes. So, because he has that reputation, I wouldn't doubt people don't want to take him to the ground as often as it would seem like a good idea. We forget about that.
I feel like Frankie would be an interesting fight. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, Frankie looks like he's on his way out, but
I mean, he's coming off a win.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was a while back. He needs to string together another one or two.
Yeah, he needs to get a really big win again. He's knocked.
Maybe Frankie Edgar versus Volkanovski. Actually, might be interesting.
That'd be pretty crazy, actually. I would be afraid for Frankie on that though because of
maybe that would be
knockout prowess.
That would be pretty cool. There's also Hanato Makano.
Oh yeah,
and,
I keep forgetting about him.
Yeah,
but he's been on a pretty good tear lately. He was supposed to be the. He was supposed to be
the backup.
Yeah, the backup for Holloway Ortega. He didn't even make weight though, so it was like,
he was only off by half a pound. But obviously that's championship weight. You got to make that weight, bro.
Terrible. But, he would have still fought, but he just wouldn't have been for the belt.
Yeah.
Which is, what are you gonna do?
Let's take a look at the prelims. We had Andre Arlovski and Walt Harris. That was like meh. That was like a meh fight. It was kind of meh.
Yeah.
Andre Arlovski, or Andre the question mark nose Arlovski. You don't think needs to get that thing fixed, dude. It's so distracting.
I mean,
they went to a decision. 3 rounds.
Wouldn't help him out last night anyway. Walt Harris decision. Yeah, good for him. Way to go.
And then you had Kat Zingano, Megan Anderson.
That was unfortunate.
That was a weird
anticlimactic.
freak ending.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, Megan Anderson was going in. It was literally like a minute into the fight. Didn't really see too much. Megan Anderson was putting up most of the offensive. Kat Zingano was just moving back. Megan Anderson goes for a high kick and catches Zingano, but unfortunately, the only thing that
Kat
caught
was
Zingano,
like running from it. She was kind of like on the fence, kind of.
Megan Anderson's
like,
big toe essentially caught Kat Zingano right in the eye. Yeah, it was really bad.
Cut her eyelid.
I'll put a photo of that up later on our on Instagram page.
I think you put it on the story.
Oh no, the actual toe in the eye.
Yeah. That's funny because Kat Zingano actually posted that on her Twitter. And I was like, okay. She can see the humor in it.
Yeah, I guess. Just to show people, like, yo, there was a fucking toe in my eye. Yeah. Motherfuckers. Like, that shit hurts.
Yeah, for a second, I thought she cut her not just her eyelid, but her actual like
eyeball. Yeah, I mean, it's scary.
Like Winklejohn.
Well, in the photo, it does show her eye is a little red, so I'm sure there was some sort of
laceration. I think it was like an irritation.
I
feel like you basically got kicked in the eye.
Yeah, but I think she just got like her eyelid was actually cut on the inside. There was some swelling and some discoloration.
But I think it should be fine.
Yeah, it's just like it's literally like a flesh wound. I think they said so.
Nothing is wrong.
Way bad. And that's what we were talking about. That catching on that's really fucking bad luck, man. God damn it. Probably like the worst luck in terms of like
worst luck in the women's MMA.
Probably, yeah, I would definitely say so. I mean, there's a lot of people with bad luck. But
injury after injury, whole thing with her husband.
Yeah, a lot of personal shit, injuries. Fucking, she went through some depression, like all this crap. It's really rough couple years.
But she's a tough lady.
That's the thing. Yeah, she's fucking tough as shit. And she got through all that stuff, and she's still fighting. And I mean, I'm sure she'll try to come back better than ever. Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be mad if this fight happened again, like in a couple months, because I mean. I feel like her eye that'll heal fairly quickly. Yeah. They could probably do this fight in a month or two.
Yeah.
Just redo a rematch.
I can see this happening again.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I know. Right now, I mean it's not like
no rush to get a contender at featherweight. So.
Exactly. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, right there.
Apologies. Yeah, I'm just going to fucking down.
What time did you leave there yesterday?
Like 2:30. Not too long after you. I think we
left at like 1:30.
Played another game of Smash, and then we left again. So,
yeah. These
then we left.
Juveniles were playing Super Smash Brothers while we were watching the fight.
Yeah, we got 2 TVs set up. One with Smash, one with UFC fights. It was a good old time. We should start doing that every month.
Stiff poop.
What? Oh, yeah.
We also had Peter Yan against Douglas Silva de Andrade.
I think I was
This is the one fight that I didn't see this.
Yeah, I was out getting beer when
Funny enough.
happened.
But it's supposed to be
Peter
really
Yan won second.
Peter Yan,
at the end of the second round, I guess?
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of it.
Well, you know what's weird? So this is 5. So this would mean I feel like they ended it
maybe
at the end of the second round. It might have been doctor stoppage.
Look up and see what happened.
Let's see. Sure. Peter Yan. Towel. Oh, right. I did. I think I was listening to the fight. So they threw in the towel. Actually, they threw his corner threw in the towel.
Oh. Huh. We were talking about that.
We were just talking about that last week.
Yes. We should have seen that fight.
So Andrade had given up, his all, trying to stop him advance the turn. On a big punch. Straight right hand. So occasionally try to punish. Just to show his quick trade or punishment for the pressure. Okay, this is like not really good storytelling.
Bad article from MMA Junkie. I'm surprised.
Yeah. Oh, right here.
Maybe he had gotten him in the end. Let's see what happened. Oh no.
Oh wait, what?
He was wobbly, I guess.
Oh, dude, groggily. He congratulated himself for surviving round 2.
Yeah.
Damn. But yeah, so apparently he was getting whooped, and he got cut open by an elbow and all this stuff, and then his corner was just like, yeah, no, we're gonna stop this fight. So yeah, that's a big win for him. What is that? 135.
135. Yeah.
Yeah, 135.
Need some more stars at 135. It's always fun to see more fights.
Yeah, get some more faces in there. So I think Peter Yan was coming in unranked, fighting De Andrade, who's 14. So Probably gonna see Peter Yan jump up to like a 13, 14. Thomas Almeida's still in the rankings. I haven't seen that guy fighting forever.
Thomas Almeida, Jesus Christ.
That guy was like.
I was actually thinking about him the other day, and I'm like, whatever happened to that guy? Is he getting better somewhere?
Yeah, he was like on his rise, on the rise until he fought fucking Cody.
Until he fought fucking Cody.
I don't know. Our homie Ronnie Yaya's there, number 15, staying strong. Hope to see you soon.
Who?
Ronnie Yaya.
Yeah. Ronnie
Yeah.
Shout out to that guy. Thanks for following us.
Supporting us.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
He gives us likes every now and then. Thanks, bro.
And then we had the return of BJ Penn against BJJ ace Ryan Hall. That was fucking expected, almost kind of. I didn't expect that quick of a.
I'm kind of really glad it went
fight,
down that way, though.
Yeah, BJ, we fucking love you, bro. You're 40 years old. Just retire.
Kind of really glad it went down that way, just because I mean.
You don't need to prove anything.
No, I would say so.
Yeah, he caught him in the heel hook. That tap was like about half a second into it. He just tapped instantly.
Yeah,
it was just deep and it was
heel hooks are bad. Heel hooks are really apparently like I didn't know not much about them.
One of the most painful.
Yeah, I mean, but not only that, but you could like tear a person's like everything inside of a person's leg, like literally their PCL, their MCL, their fucking all that shit. And that's real bad to fucking try to heal that up. I mean, ask
ankles
Dominic
are
Cruz.
pretty fucking. They're a pretty weak joint,
I would say so.
Compared to your knees and shoulders and shit. Fuck that shit real quick.
So.
They had early prelims. Some familiar faces on here. Brian Kelleher is back. Lost to via submission of Montel Jackson. That was a nice finish by Montel Jackson. Had Kelleher rocked. Took him down. Got a Darce choke. Tapped him out pretty quick.
I think I might have remembered that.
That was impressive. Curtis Millender's CR by Hadrzada. CR is known for his power and went in there trying to get a KO, but Curtis Millender kind of weathered the storm, threw his own punches, made it to the end of 3 rounds. A lot of hopes for CR, but if he's not getting the KO, it's just not happening sometimes. Uriah Hall is back. Was losing that fight.
He was.
And came back in the 3rd round with a nice counter. Was it counter right, counter left?
I think it was a counter.
And just, that was it. One punch.
Counter right. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that was like a flash knockout. Fell down, blood. Fell over and fell on his own.
This fight, I saw the beginning, but I actually didn't see the submission. Nathaniel Wood, Andre Ewell. Looked like it was a scrap though. They were scrapping pretty hard at the beginning of the fight. I know that. Sometimes and I think that was bantamweight. Yeah, these guys get into it. But all in all, a really good card, really good end of the year fight. They also had their last coverage for any UFC event on Fox. So
the prelims
on
the
FS1. They had
post-fight show and the press conference and stuff like that.
They had a little bye.
All that good stuff.
End of the UFC Fox era, like officially now, because they had their last event last week, but this was officially the last UFC broadcast at all. On there, so pretty cool. We seeing them on ESPN next year, and I'm gonna see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes. It should be exciting, because the next fight card is January 16th, and funny enough, that's the only card they have in January. Only have one fight card in January, first fight card of the year, and
233.
They lost 233 because
which is now 234.
Yeah, so no more 233. 234 is going to take place in February, and the next thing we're going to see, the first event of the year is going to be Cejudo versus Dillashaw. That should be good.
And then in February, we get a freaking card every month, I think.
Yeah.
Or every week.
Yes, we do. But real quick, before we leave, because it's like 2 o'clock. I want to talk real quick about the year.
Yeah, year in review.
Year in review, a quick year in review.
I didn't prepare early for this.
No, I didn't either. This whole time, I've been kind of looking up particular articles that have like top 5s. And I was like, oh yeah, that was a good fight. Oh yeah, I do remember that fight.
They do have.
That's literally what I've been doing this whole time, because I'm sure they've noticed. I've been looking down and listening to you babble on for the past 10 minutes.
Well, I go suck a dick. Yeah.
God bless the internet. But yeah, a lot of great knockouts this year.
I do feel like I have my knockout of the year though.
Yeah. Oh, the The Korean Zombie, Yair Rodriguez.
Korean Zombie, Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's really hard to argue with that because
it was
Jesus.
It just had a combination of so many good things. It was he fired off that elbow. It was so creative. You know, you don't see that happen.
Yeah.
And also the amount of it was with enough power to knock someone out in the end of the 5th round with like 2 seconds left in the fight. And also the fact, I guess, that he came in.
It was literally 5 seconds
notice.
left in the fight, and he like fell to the floor, and the referee called the fight right at the fucking bell. That was crazy.
It was just insane.
Nuts. It really was. And honestly, in the night that it happened, I think it was pretty crazy. The night that it was like the 25th anniversary show. It was the main event. They had just had a very tough fucking fight. They were both going at each other. It was like back and forth. Yair was getting.
That was actually not that was a fight of the year, but that was like that was fight of the night.
Definitely was fight of the night. Yeah, it could have been a fight. I would say it's a fight of the year really candidate. Definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not like it wasn't a fight of the year candidate, but yeah, I mean that was definitely crazy fucking knockout. There's plenty of other fucking knockouts there, but it's just you have a hard time.
For me, that's number one, man. I think what was Ngannou out over him was last year, right? I don't think that was this year.
What's that?
Ngannou over him?
Yeah, that was last year. That was 2017. Yeah, that was a while back already.
Yeah, 2017. That was the end of the year. That was the end of last year.
But
so what do you got? I mean, yeah, Gaethje, Poirier, Whitaker, Romero, Ferguson, Pettis, Zabit, Bochniak. Yeah, they had some decent fights. You know, there weren't any clear like fight of the years this year.
I would say
there's a lot more knockouts and submissions than I feel like
Ferguson, Pettis.
It was entertaining,
but that was still a pretty good fucking fight.
You know, it's hard to say like to find a fight that's like a Jones Gustafson 1, a Shogun Henderson, like those kind of like legendary brawls like that, like or legendary fights like that, back and forth.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't have one this year. Whitaker Romero 2 is really pretty good.
I mean, yeah, Romero and Whitaker 2.
Like a lot of people's number one here was like Gaethje Poirier, and that was cool.
Gaethje Poirier was a good fight. More so because Gaethje was... Here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. There was never a lot of back and forth because in the Gaethje Poirier fight, I mean, Gaethje did land a couple strikes, but it was obvious in the beginning that Poirier was winning and was getting the better of the exchanges.
Yeah, he was trying to brawl him.
Like you said, with the Ferguson and Pettis fight, it was more so... What made the fight was the fact that Pettis was so fucking tough.
Yeah,
not getting knocked out.
His output wasn't as good.
Tony was in there knocking him the fuck out. Even like, what's that fight? What's his name? Zabit.
Oh,
yeah, there it is.
Bochniak was getting his ass kicked.
Magomed Sharapov. Yeah, Bochniak was getting his ass kicked most of the time. It was just the fact that he was able to take punches.
Yeah,
but there wasn't like a crazy like back and forth.
I mean, shit. Then you can put
like
fucking Ortega and Holloway.
Max Holloway there, yeah. But I mean, that was like you said. It was more so like a stellar performance from like Holloway rather than a back and forth. And like Ortega was in any trouble and stuff like that. I agree.
Oh yeah, that's actually on here, number 13. No, this is kind of crazy. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put more like a Rose Joanna. Like that was a little more.
Rose and Joanna too was definitely good because it was a little more back and forth. I mean, Rose was definitely getting the better of the exchanges, but it was still a good fight. But yeah, I mean, it was more so the fact that it was so entertaining.
I'll
Whitaker Romero too could have gone back and fight. Yeah,
that was a little back and forth. Even in some cases, I would even say Romero could have won that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a split decision. But I feel like that was the most, of all the, like, grueling fights that we've seen this year, that was the most evenly matched fight, I think. That was the most competitive on both sides.
Yeah.
Fights. You know? And that was the only split decision we have here in this fight.
That's true, yeah. I'll give it to whatchamacallit, Ferguson and Pettis, just because I wanted to give it to Gaethje and Poirier, but Poirier won by knockout, so there was like a decisive win at the end of Ferguson and Pettis. The only reason they stopped that fight was because Pettis broke his hand.
Oh no, yeah.
Pettis broke his hand, so they had to stop the fight after I think like the second or third round. So that fight could have kept going. That fight could have been better. and they could have gotten like another winner. But in Poirier and Gaethje, it was like I said, it was obvious who was winning that one. It was obvious who was winning Pettis and, like Ferguson obviously too, but Pettis' heart definitely made it a fucking fight of the year. And yeah, like we said, for that matter, we could have also put down Edson Barboza versus Dan Hooker as like a fight of the year kind of fight. But if anything, that would probably be a performance. Who do you think had, I mean, I guess this isn't probably a no-brainer. Who had the best performance of the year?
Or a fighter of the year?
Yeah, no. In like a single fight. Like a single fight who like really showed out.
I kind of want to say maybe Max Holloway against Ortega.
Max Holloway against Ortega. I agree. I thought maybe you would like, because I think maybe in second place, not a coming out party, but maybe like a breakthrough kind of like thing was Israel Adesanya.
Yeah,
going against like Derek Bronson, that kind of stuff. But like,
I feel like Max Holloway's we know how good he is, but we didn't even expect him to come out and be that dominant. Like he was.
That's true. Yeah. He was dominated the whole time. He took advantage of like the boxing. He knew the combinations he knew. It really was a showcase of what he did best, which is just shots repeatedly, cardio, continuous like pressure all up in your face. If Brian Ortega was anyone else, that would have been like an easy knockout a lot sooner, and it would have been stopped by the corners and by the referee and by the freaking doctors. But yeah, I would say like Max Holloway beating Brian Ortega was probably the performance of the year. I could say so. Yeah.
He shined a lot.
Another thing, actually, I just more so want to put a light on this, just because it was a big thing in 2018 was the flyweight division, and Cejudo beating Demetrius Johnson. I agree that like Demetrius, maybe it could have been like a little bit more of a dominant performance, but Cejudo came back from like, remember what happened to his leg in the beginning of the round? How his leg was like, he got that weird stiff nerve thing that happened to what was it, Jamie Varner?
Chandler.
And Michael Chandler as well. He had that weird thing that happened against the greatest of all time, and then he was still able to come back and get a decision win out of that. So I think that shares some claim. Like, share some claim for, like, a good performance of, like, the year. Because, I mean, regardless, even if he still didn't, like, entirely dominate Demetrius Johnson, he definitely still put, like, when it came down to the wrestling, he definitely put it down. And I think looking back on it, like, now, I think I appreciate that performance a lot more now than I did when it happened then. Because then it was all about, Demetrius Johnson lost, but you didn't want him to lose that way. You wanted him to lose more in a decisive way. But now I feel like, just looking back on it, I feel like Cejudo deserves some sort of credibility for, like, taking the championship from Demetrius Johnson.
You can't sneeze at that. I wouldn't say that he does, or, that merits a super fight, but...
Well, I mean, at this point right now, I feel like
that's good.
I feel like the super fight needs to happen just because they want to close out the flyweight division. I feel like he's fighting for the flyweight division right now, Cejudo. Because if he wins, there's still plenty of matchups for him. He could still go against Joseph Benavidez, who beat him before. He can go against... He could probably go against... Oh, no, he beat Wilson.
Well, when a champion, like a dominant champion, loses, it opens so many more...
Exactly, so I feel like that's like probably the best thing that could have happened to the flyweight division right now. And speaking of the flyweight division, real quick, just going back, Demetrius Johnson, one of the people to go to 1FC... This year was a pretty big year for 1FC also. They had their app service open up, and they started giving their fights out free, which I think was a big win for them, giving out their name out to a lot more bigger, to a bigger demographic of people. They signed Eddie Alvarez, Demetrius Johnson, Sage Northcutt, 3 well-known names in UFC, and now they signed a deal with Turner Broadcasting.
And they also signed on Misha Tate as their vice president.
Misha Tate, now their vice president. So, it was definitely an exciting year for one championship. I mean, a great year for UFC, obviously, but in terms of growth and all that other stuff, I think one championship is definitely getting there. Bellator has been great. I think Bellator has been gradually getting bigger and, like, doing their thing and stuff and this and that, but I think this has just been a really good year for one championship. They're really, like, getting their name out there as, like, the #1 MMA organization in Asia. And, I'm honestly just mentioning random things right now that happened in 2008 that I'm like, this thing, let's remember this and let's remember that, because it's just like my mind's going a mile a minute right now. So just bringing up random things like that. Definitely exciting to see like one championship on like TNT and maybe TBS now in the future. see
It is
some of
bringing
these guys. Bringing a lot more
into
MMA to
the mainstream.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, submission of the year. I don't know.
I remember a lot of things.
There are a lot. It's hard. It's actually hard to remember. Like my favorite submission of the year.
The only one. Well, I shared this sentiment with Brett Okamoto from ESPN. I always mispronounce his last name.
This is a number one on a lot of people's list here. Paul Craig.
I kind of forgot this one.
This is triangle.
Oh, triangle armbar.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, this is when Paul Craig, I think he was losing the fight. He was losing the fight up until then. This was probably like the end of the third round, and he came out of nowhere with the submission in like the last 30 seconds of the last minute and got a like behind, like out of nowhere win.
These are interesting because Aljamain Sterling and Zabit both had this. I don't know what you call it.
Oh, the submission the same night, the calf slicer.
Is it the calf slicer?
Calf slicer, when you pull the leg back?
They have their back, and they pull the leg back all the way back. Yeah,
you overextend their leg, essentially, and you either, like, overextend the calf, or you, like, overextend the, what's the muscle that's underneath your ass? This one back here?
Your, hamstring?
Hamstring, there you go. Yeah, you, like, overextend the hamstring, and you just, like,
yeah, it looks
pull
painful.
a strain on that motherfucker. But, yeah, they both did that the same night
did, like,
at UFC 228.
So he did that one where it was, like, on his back. Aljamain did it on stomach down. What was the Olenik's got every fucking Ezekiel choke in the win in the UFC history. This one was impressive. This is from the bottom.
What was that? Oh, okay, that was. I was just wondering which card that was on. It was a UFC 228. The both calf slashers. That was on 228 when Tyron Woodley beat Darren Till.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was a good showing for Tyron Woodley.
I like this from the bottom.
Very,
that's impressive. The
amount
of strength.
Alexei Olenek, man, strongest motherfucker, one of the strongest motherfuckers on the planet. Yeah,
He's got a nice streak going.
He does. Well, no, he recently lost to Mark Hunt, didn't he?
No, he beat Mark Hunt.
Did he beat Mark Hunt?
I think it was another Ezekiel choke.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it.
Alexei
Olenek.
I always forget how to fucking spell this guy's name.
He spells it like 3 different ways. It's spelled differently on his Instagram, and it's spelled differently there. It's very weird.
He lost Curtis Blades a couple of fights ago, but he beat. He choked Mark Hunt.
Yeah, rear neck.
And Albini was the Ezekiel
I see. Yeah, he got 2 performances tonight.
So he's got this.
But still, not a bad. Yeah, not a bad 2018 for him though. Yeah, I think he was supposed to. Wasn't he supposed to go against?
What's the fight?
Fabricio Verdum instead of Hunt.
Yeah.
Supposed to be Fabricio Verdum, but then against Hunt, got the submission to rear naked choke. But yeah, not
so
bad for him. He's definitely a submission ace in the game right now.
I don't know. Who do I give that to? You know what? I'm gonna give it to Olenek. Fuck it.
A quick.
I like that he was on his back. That's a tough one to pull off.
Let's say that. And he came back.
I feel like there's also ones that are also like kind of under the radar that I just.
The one that what I was gonna say was the one pointed out by ESPN earlier was Donald Cerrone's armbar of Mike Perry.
Okay.
And UFC, that one just because it kind of came out from under nowhere. Probably the 2 most like well-known, like the better-known names. So probably that's why they talk about it. But yeah, I remember that one. It was like an armbar. I think we released a photo on our Instagram page where he looked like Jim Carrey coming out of a rhino's ass.
Yeah.
So, that was funny.
And it was that was posted by Perry.
That's funny. He's got a good sense of humor about himself.
All right, and then what about who's your fighter of the year?
Little Nick fell down. Oh man, fighter of the year.
I kind of want to give it to DC.
Yeah, I was going back and forth between DC and Max Holloway, just because Max Holloway's performance at fucking 231 was just Jesus.
I want to say performance, but I feel like that kind of accomplishment, and I guess you could give the same thing to Amanda Nunes. Or tip that same hat, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like DC.
I just realized something. You haven't been recording.
It's streaming,
but it's not recording though.
On YouTube, it's recorded on YouTube.
Is it recording on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought the button was supposed to be pressed there.
Nah, it doesn't matter. That's just a local recording.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay, that's good. I didn't know that. Learning new things every time. But yeah, what's funny about that though is unfortunately we deleted our episode where we praised Max Holloway and we're dick riding him for about an hour.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. But yeah, we were talking a whole show about him a couple weeks back. Where that dominant performance over Ortega was just, because Ortega was just looking like such a great young prospect that was beating people like Frankie Edgar and just making Cub Swanson look like they didn't belong in the same league as him. The last time we saw somebody that was rising so quickly in the featherweight division was Conor McGregor. Jose Aldo, these great former champions, the only 2 former champions in the featherweight division. So you think, holy shit, here comes the new guy with the new fucking the big dick in town, coming swinging the big dick and coming to take the belt from Max Holloway. But now, man, he's not over. The blessed era is still happening.
Max Holloway is a stand-up. He's a beast at stand-up, and he has good presence on the ground control, good takedown defense. So and that was just actually that was a really bad matchup for Ortega. Like Ortega's like competent on the feet, but he's not the greatest. I think the Edgar knockout was kind of, I don't want to say a fluke, but it was really unexpected. Mm-hmm. It just happened to work out that way. But he is a grappling specialist, and if you can't take the guy down, and you can't really compete with him on the feet, then that's kind of how that turned out, and very well for him. But I mean, he'll be back. He's a young guy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would definitely, like we said, I'd definitely give Max Holloway a consideration or honorable mention for Fight of the Year. But yeah, man, I mean, when you win the belt at light heavyweight and heavyweight, man, it's hard to argue if you're not the fighter of the fucking year, man.
Yeah, that was kind of a magical moment.
It really was. Yeah, it really was. He did something nobody ever did before. He says the baddest man on the planet and won the premier, because the light heavyweight division has kind of always been the premier division in the UFC. The Chuck Liddell, the Tito Ortiz's, John Jones,
and then the heavyweight's always been the most
the baddest man on the planet. Absolutely, yeah, and he's champion for both of them.
And beating somebody like Stipe, who was considered to be maybe the best heavyweight ever.
The best heavyweight, yeah. Just
and now no one's even looking at him anywhere after.
It sucks. I mean, it sucks for Stipe, but I mean, DC, it's hard to argue that it hasn't been a big year for him. In terms of athletes overall, ESPN I think made him number 3 or number 4. Like I think number 3
the year?
most dominant athletes of the year. So like overall, like performance over everything else, just like these are the 3 top athletes. He was number 3 on that list. So hats off to him. He's been getting a lot of fucking shine, a lot of fucking praise this year for being Fighter of the Year, and I think it's only right that we give him that title because fucking he deserves it. Especially if he's retiring next year. This is his last year. It's definitely been the best year of his career so far. And I mean, it's only been getting better. I mean, a year and a half ago, we were talking about him losing to John Jones by a head kick knockout. Now he won 2 championship belts.
Of the year, yeah.
Baddest man on the fucking planet. I mean, hats off to DC.
So we'll see if he fights Brock Lesnar. Shout out to Dominic Cruz for publicly saying that Lesnar is probably on steroids.
Yeah.
He was saying that on the broadcast after the event.
I remember that.
Funny.
That's pretty funny.
Hey man, just kind of calling it like it is. And also our thoughts and prayers to Dominic Cruz and his shoulder or whatever it was. Was it shoulder?
Jesus Christ, dude! The worst. Like speaking of fighters with bad luck, man. Like fucking A, dude.
I saw somebody post a comment online. They're like, "Cat Dominic Cruz Zingano."
Yeah.
So she's basically the female version of
Dominic Cruz Zingano, man. Well, I mean, I'd also give it to Ian McCall too, because remember Ian McCall for like 3-4 years, every time he had to fight in the UFC, like 4 fights in a row.
Either got canceled or he got sick or
something happened. Yeah, just like the worst kind of luck. He eventually was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to Ryzen." He's been fighting in Ryzen.
That didn't work out. Well, he had 1 fight and he got knocked out, I think.
Unfortunately,
which is pretty bad luck.
Yeah, also, a little bit. Yeah, I guess. But yeah. That was that. What would you say event of the year was?
Event of the year? I mean, it could have been last night.
Could have been last night.
Well, I mean, if you want to, obviously, Khabib McGregor, that was... I think that's got to be. That was the broke record, pay-per-view records.
Broke records. Biggest pay-per-view of all time. Most hyped up pay-per-view of all time. Surprising finish.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it kind of went how people thought it would go, but it went
exactly
one of those things where it was like,
if you know MMA, it went exactly how you thought it was going to go, and all the MMA hobbyists were upset, and they realized this is not the sport for me to think like I know.
But there were so many questions though. They were like, "Yeah, this is how I think it'll go," But is that how it's gonna go?
Well,
you had people question. You're like, I'm curious. I gotta watch this. I gotta see.
One big thing was the fact that Conor always had that punching power. Conor had the striking. If Conor landed 1 or 2 shots, and if Khabib could take it, that was the big thing. Khabib played the game plan well. Khabib laid on top of him for like the first 4 out of the 5 like minutes of the first round. Laid on top of his legs, wrapped himself around there, and really like just drained him in the first 2 rounds with his wrestling and with like all that grappling shit. Conor started laying punches down, in the 3rd, I think, or the 2nd round? And they weren't having as much effect on Khabib as everyone thought it would. Khabib was taking the shots, and Khabib actually threw a shot in on Conor in the 2nd round and almost knocked Conor down because Conor was so tired from getting his like legs drained. That was a perfect game plan from Khabib. That was how he was supposed to win the fight. That's how he won the fight, and people were upset because they were like, oh, he was grabbing him the whole time. Yeah, because he was getting him tired, and because he was working that game. That's Khabib's game. Khabib mauls people, and that's just how he does. Played the game plan. Conor couldn't get the shots in. Conor got the shots in, but unfortunately he didn't have as much power in them as he would have in the first round. Rear naked choke. Not even a rear naked choke, a neck crank. Got a neck crank on him and like almost like popped his freaking jaw open probably, or popped his jaw in half. But
I mean, you also had and you also had Ferguson Pettis on that card too.
Ferguson Pettis was on the card.
Big fight.
There you go. Which arguably was also on a lot of people's top 5 lists, top 10 lists, stuff like that.
Yeah, you had Derek Lewis, Volkov. That was
another Derek Lewis and fucking Volkov on that shit.
Dominic Reyes, OSP. That was a good one for him.
Dominic Reyes showing out OSP and showing Watterson, a new face in the lighter division. Yeah, Michelle Watterson. That was a great fight. That was a really good card. It wasn't like just Khabib and Conor was the fight everyone wanted to see. Derek Lewis shined at night. Everybody found out whose balls was hot. The Black Beast did make name for himself that evening. I feel like that was just a
really big event, and
it was a really big event. Every sense, absolutely, yeah, and it paid off. A lot of big events. People put up a lot of UFC 200. When Diaz went against GSP, people put like a lot of emphasis on these events, and like they never pay off. This was an event that paid off. New stars were made.
You know, it's crazy.
Fights of the year were done.
Yeah,
records were broken.
The record for pay-per-view by 800,000 pay-per-views.
Jesus.
It blew out the last one.
Blew out the fucking water. The last one was Nick Diaz, Conor 2, right?
I
think that was number 2.
It might have been. I think it might have been. Yeah.
Right. Can you go down? Wait, why did they say 228 was number 1?
Yeah, someone said, the Woodley. There's some good fights on there, but I don't think that was.
Let's take a look at why they say this. Yeah, I had the glitz and glamour because 229 was the biggest one, and I was gonna mention it earlier because that's where we got Aljamain and Zabit. Did the that's what it's called, the Sulov stretches.
Suloev stretches.
Suloev stretch. Oh, I guess that's what it's called, Suloev stretch.
Yeah.
That was this was the event 228 right before Khabib versus Conor, which was headlined by Woodley and Till. This is supposedly on people's top list, at least for what is this? MMA Mania. So let's see. Well, yeah, I remember that Jim Miller and Diego Sanchez having that great fight of the night. And let me see, Jeff Neal landing. I remember that head kick that knocked out Frank Camacho. Yeah, that was
yeah, those both the solo stretch. Al Hassan
multi-Nico knockout in 43 seconds. I don't remember this. It's really hard to remember this one after 229, and because they had a pretty good last quarter. Like, even though they had to scramble a lot for a lot of these events and, random shit happened here and there, they had, Holloway Ortega, they had Darren Till versus Woodley, Khabib, Conor, Jones, Gustafsson right now with Holloway, Cyborg, Ortega, and Nunes. They had a really good end of the quarter. They had a really good end of the year, UFC. It wasn't a bad end of the year. That's why it's probably so difficult to remember the first event of the end of the quarter. Jessica Andrade scoring.
So I think it was a great event, but I still think UFC 229 overall.
Oh yeah, that's when Jessica Andrade knocked out Karolina Kovic, and with that one punch, she just knocked the fuck out. Tyron Woodley proclaimed his spot as welterweight king, regardless of who has an interim title, and regardless of how many people have been out wrestled by a certain Nigerian nightmare. Woodley is still on top there. I'll give UFC 229 in terms of MMA prowess and just an MMA, an actual MMA fans standpoint. I could see why it got the event of the year. It's definitely a great event, but I mean UFC 229 was just.
I think it was definitely the biggest, most memorable, most anticipated
And it lived
and
up
it
to the
had
hype.
great card.
Had it not lived up to the hype, and had it not been anticipated, it lived up to the hype. I could definitely see 228 getting the nod as well. But yeah, I would definitely say UFC 229, Khabib and Conor for the lightweight belt, and Khabib. Oh, and also fucking the bullshit, the controversy afterwards.
Yeah,
Khabib hopping out. That event kind of had everything.
It was crazy.
It was a very crazy event. It was very hard. Like you said,
Like you remember it. I think it was the most memorable.
After an event like that, it's very, very difficult to whatchamacallit, to remember, unfortunately. 228 was a great event. Just said it right now. All these great things happened there, but I mean, I think 229, because we're talking about it and we're still mentioning shit.
And people are gonna keep talking about it for
definitely had to be event of the year, I would say. Okay, we did fight of the year, we did a KO of the year, submission of the year. No, well, we didn't do a fighter of the year, a female fighter of the year.
I don't want to do that. That's not right.
Female fighter of the year. Why not?
Because it's fighter of the year. They don't need to just discern their the gender and.
Yeah, we do. Why not? Well, not like female submission, but just.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Everyone's list is Amanda Nunes. There's no other. There's no one else.
First double champ. She won last night. Beat Cyborg. I guess we would have said Cyborg had Cyborg won last night because she continued her featherweight prowess, and it would have been.
I mean, well, if Cyborg won, I could have maybe gone with like a Rose.
Rose has did she defend her belt?
I think that was earlier this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Joanna too. That was this year.
Oh yeah, too. Yeah. But I mean, like that, she only really defended it once. Didn't really have like a. Not to say that it's not great to see Rose win, but it wasn't like a dominant performance like 2017.
Maybe last year.
Yeah, last year
I
could say she definitely would be like last year's, but this
year.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I mean, Nunes wins it by a mile. Yeah. This is true. Yeah.
Easy.
But yeah,
easy one.
That. Event of the year, this and that, and overall, what are you looking forward to in the 2008?
I'm curious to see how this ESPN deal goes.
Curious to see how the ESPN deal goes. I'm very curious to see it as well.
How that works out. And you know what was funny that I didn't realize last night? The UFC and the ESPN have a very similar logo.
Oh yeah, you did see that. There was like
I was like, wow.
There was a particular change,
and then the ESPN.
There was it was like a subtle change in UFC in UFC's logo that not a lot of people noticed, because instead of having like UFC Ultimate Fighter, like the Ultimate Fighting Championship written underneath, it's just like UFC in like big bold red now.
They've had the that same logo for a while now, but I just never noticed it, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, because ESPN's had. I was looking that up. ESPN's logo, they've had since 1985.
Oh wow!
So I don't know if the UFC at one point they were like, maybe if we do something similar, it'll kind of make people think of sports when they see UFC. Bless you. Maybe it was like, I don't know. Maybe this was meant to be. Maybe it was. Kismet.
Kismet. Yeah. But no, yeah, I definitely agree. Seeing what happens with the UFC and the ESPN. Honestly, two things. And overall in MMA, well, one thing I'm looking forward to is to see how the UFC and USADA finally implement all of this like bullshit and finally like piece down all the little like edges and like corners that they haven't been like. Well, they've been finding like the whole thing with John Jones happened recently was because he had like literally a microscope.
I'm curious to see what
piece of like whatever
next results
this thing is exactly. Yeah, and it might, for all we know, it might be positive for that same thing.
You know how crazy it would be if he gets popped and then they have to take the belt away from him again.
But for all we know though, here's the thing though, like not to say that I understand the science because I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but when you hear people explain it, that it's like literally like the USADA testing is so good.
It kind of makes sense.
A little thing. It does.
But it's
interesting to see how the UFC is going to. Yeah, but
it's
interesting to see how the UFC is going to, figure out how to exactly, because if not, they're going to keep getting people.
What is worth banning someone over, suspending somebody over?
And for all we know, I mean, Chad Mendes, remember when he got suspended for like 2-3 years for that lotion he was using for his eczema? What if he still has that in his system? And what if it shows up again in like his post-fight right now? Like, and it's what he's going to get a double jeopardy in this thing?
That goes into your bloodstream, it stays in there for a
Absolutely.
while.
Yeah,
circulating
definitely.
and
There's definitely they're still working on it. They're still working out all the USADA kinks. You think by now they would have it like worked out, but they don't. So I feel like they need to pay closer attention to that.
Thing. Yeah.
Definitely that. And other than that, honestly, and MMA overall, I'm really interested in seeing the growth of Bellator and the growth of One Championship. Because, like I said, ONE FC had a huge year. I think this past year, UFC had a great year. They always usually are the promotion, but I think ONE Championship has had a great year, and they're
Bellator also.
Bellator as well.
Bellator
has always been like on. I feel like they've steadily been on a climb since like 2016, since Scott Cooker's coming, and since Bjorn Redney's coming.
Yeah, but that's saying
Scott
they're
Cooker
getting
knows
a
how
lot
to do his
more.
thing.
You know, they're not getting. No one's getting the views that the UFC is getting. But
but they've both been absolutely.
Trying to get there.
They've been getting a lot of fans, so I think it's going to be real interesting to see what happens with MMA in general in 2019. ONE Championship has Turner Broadcasting, Bellator is with the Zone. We'll see how that goes, and they have all of these new interesting fights coming up. They unfortunately suffered a big loss with Gegard Mousasi getting injured, so now that middleweight fight's going to have to wait. That was a real interesting middleweight fight. But for now, you still have Fedor versus Ryan Bader. That's coming in January. They had their first major MMA event in Hawaii, so that was a big fucking deal because fighting is a big deal in Hawaii.
Grand Prix is continuing
on. Grand Prix is still continuing on. Still big names going on there. Like we said, ONE Championship signed 3 new names, familiar names from UFC. It's a big time. It's a good time to be a promotion on the come up in MMA, and it's an ever growing sport, and we're gonna see what happens now after that. And also wait, was that the last thing? Yeah, that was the last thing. Yeah. Just to see what happens overall with like smaller promotions and MMA growing, because seems like UFC is not going anywhere. People have been saying UFC is like, just a fad and like it's going away, and there's always all of these people writing these negative, reviews on UFC. Somebody wrote like some negative thing that like, oh, because Amanda Nunes won. I forgot what the guy's name was, but Dana White was talking about him in the post press conference. Some guy was talking shit and saying like, oh, now that Amanda Nunes won, the UFC suffered a big hit because they have like an unmarketable like double champ in the women's division, and it's kind of like, no, this kind of helps them out because of this, that, and the third, and Amanda Nunes is marketable, and what are you talking about? A lot of people like that, they always write negative columns about MMA. They think it's still a trend, and I think all the naysayers are probably finally getting, the fist up the ass. And it's good to see what's going on with all these smaller promotions.
Hey, man, when these haters have a $4.2 billion payday, they can talk shit.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, and I mean, it's always going to be fun to see what happens in the new year, 2019. 2019, we're also planning on trying to get our name out there a little more. This year, like we said, was this half year, like we said, was we were just trying to build up a lot of content. Get ourselves in the groove of things, trying to feel out exactly what we want to do with it. But now we're gonna try to get our names out there a little more and try to make sure three-quarter guard is a well-known name, a household name, if you will. We want to be the Hulk Hogan of MMA. Probably not the Hulk Hogan of MMA, but something like that. We want to go from being the okayest podcast in the world to we'll probably stay at the okayest MMA podcast. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with being in the middle. We want to get our name out there a little more. Have more people listen to us talk shit. If you listen to us talk shit, tell your friends. Maybe they can hear us talk shit. And we want 2019 to be a big name for us, a big year for us as well. So
for us here at
holy shit, it's been an hour and a half.
For us, let's cut this off right now.
It's closing off in 2018. Have a happy new year. Oh yeah, hope everybody had a happy holidays. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Chanukah. There's like 3 other holidays I'm probably forgetting.
Happy Festivus.
Diwali. I think Diwali happened a little while ago.
I think that's a Christmas time or like a.
I know,
like
but it's a holiday.
That's probably like in the middle of the year or something.
I think it probably was actually. No, that's why I said I think it happened like a month ago. But yes. And we'll see you guys. Are we gonna be here next weekend? I guess so.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well, no reason not to. Yeah. We'll talk about something. We'll figure it out. I think because we have like 3 weeks until ESPN's card.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll see what we talk about next week. There's absolutely nothing to talk about, but have a happy new year and three-quarter guard. We'll see you in 2019.
God bless.
So.